Welcome, aspirants. Let's get right into it. Today, we're bringing you an explainer, zeroing in on a highly critical General Studies Paper 2 topic for your governance syllabus. We're looking at Aadhaar security, infiltration, and the whole debate surrounding citizenship. We're going to do a very intensive, quick, deep dive into some recent developments that are, frankly, absolutely crucial for your upcoming exams.
Absolutely, sir. Grasping the exact nuances of these governance frameworks is literally a game changer. It's essential not just for writing solid mains answers, but it's a highly probable discussion area for your personality test, the interview. So, let's look at the foundational material for our analysis today.
We'll begin with our core source material. This stems from recent Supreme Court observations regarding a petition filed by Mr. UPSC, which basically seeks to revise the Aadhaar issuance norms. Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is how perfectly this frames a classic UPSC issue. We're looking at that inherent tension between a massive welfare delivery mechanism and our national security vulnerabilities. The court is examining some seriously alarming claims about the integrity of our foundational identity framework.
Spot on, ma'am. And, to really understand the gravity of these claims, we first have to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of what we're actually dealing with here. Let's think about the data for a second.
Consider this number, 144 crore. According to UIDAI records that were actually presented in the plea, we already have 144 crore Aadhaar holders. To put that into perspective, that represents a staggering 99% of our citizens. So we're not just talking about a simple database here. This is quite literally the digital bedrock of Indian governance.
Exactly. And that massive bedrock supports some incredibly heavy financial structures.
Which brings us to 55 crore. That is the number of Jan Dun account holders directly linked to this framework. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that Aadhaar doesn't just function in isolation. It is the primary vehicle driving financial inclusion in this country, making sure banking services actually reach the absolute grassroots level.
Right, and from that financial inclusion, we naturally arrive at direct welfare.
85 crore recipients of free rations. This basically completes what we can call the data triangle of Indian welfare. The government relies heavily on this entire Aadhaar ecosystem to accurately identify and then distribute essential food security to 85 crore beneficiaries. When you have a system of this magnitude, ensuring its absolute watertight integrity is paramount. And, well, that brings us to the core issue raised in the Supreme Court. Right, so let's critically analyze the specific vulnerabilities highlighted by the petitioner and noted by the court. It's not just Aadhaar. Other government documents are apparently being forged too. And the court pointed out that the criminal hubs orchestrating these acts are sometimes operating from abroad. Most shockingly, the petitioner highlighted a very specific instance where a massive cache of 87,000 fake documents was discovered in Mumbai alone. The petitioner literally termed this vulnerability infiltration through the Aadhaar framework.
And aspirants, this brilliantly illustrates the real governance challenge. You see, a loophole in identity verification doesn't just mean someone gets a fake card. It has massive, deep-rooted economic and security ramifications. Let's look at exactly how the petitioner framed this economic impact.
The plea frames the issue in very stark terms. It argues that infiltration is essentially an economic offense, insofar as it's done to take unlawful benefits of a country's resources. The sole intent of this infiltration, according to the plea, is to settle in a country like India and just live off its resources. So why does this matter for your GS2 paper? Well, if infiltrators are accessing these resources, it directly impacts the 80 to 85 crore people who are the legitimate targeted beneficiaries of those free ration schemes. It creates a massive drain on the state exchequer and completely defeats the whole purpose of targeted public distribution.
Precisely. And to actually combat this, the petition proposes a very specific administrative remedy, one that highlights a truly fundamental constitutional concept.
The distinction we're discussing now is your core takeaway for both prelims and interviews. The petition specifically sought the installation of display boards at common service centers, stating explicitly that Aadhaar is only proof of identity and not of citizenship. Aspirants, you need absolute conceptual clarity on this point. Aadhaar establishes who you are, your identity as a resident, to facilitate service delivery. It absolutely does not confer the legal, political, and national rights that come with actual citizenship. Blurring these two lines is exactly where these governance vulnerabilities begin.
A really critical distinction, ma'am. Now, having analyzed the massive scale, the specific vulnerabilities, and these constitutional distinctions, it's time to put your application of this knowledge to the test.
Faculty 1. Here is your high-yield mains-style question, based on today's explainer. Critically analyze the vulnerabilities in the Aadhaar framework. How does it impact targeted public distribution? 150 words. I strongly, strongly encourage all of you to practice writing this answer using the issue analysis implication framework that we've just walked through today.
Faculty 2. Start with the massive scale, highlight the specific vulnerabilities like document forgery, and then conclude with the real economic implications on the public distribution system. Keep your answers concise, keep them analytical. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, aspirants. Keep studying hard, and we'll see you in the next session.